This woman thought she could sleep safely with her pet python every night until the vet showed her the startling truth. She thought her snake was just a cuddly companion, but the ultrasound revealed otherwise. Cassandra's heart raced with disbelief as she stared at the ultrasound screen. What she saw shattered her perception of her beloved pet snake. She had brought Reggie to the vet, suspecting he might be ill or experiencing an unusual behavior, but the reality was far worse than anything she had imagined. Cassandra's mind was in turmoil. How could she have been so blind to the true nature of her beloved pet? For weeks, she had been unaware of Reggie's true intentions, sleeping soundly with him curled around her body. Now the thought of it sent chills down her spine. She couldn't help but feel foolish for not recognizing the signs. The way Reggie had coiled around her, the way he had watched her with his penetrating gaze. She had interpreted these actions as affection and loyalty, but sadly the reality was far from comforting. The comforting idea of her snake watching over her during the night now seemed terrifying. What has she done? In the quaint and tranquil town of Bar Harbor, everyone knew each other's name and business, and gossip spread like wildfire. The streets were lined with charming houses, well-kept gardens, and friendly faces. So when Cassandra, a solitary woman in her mid-30s with a penchant for privacy, moved into the neighborhood with an enormous python named Reggie, the whispers began almost immediately. People couldn't comprehend why anyone would choose to live with such an unusual companion, and concern for their own safety grew. Despite the weary glances and hushed conversations, Cassandra was undeterred. She had adopted Reggie from an exotic pet rescue center after he had been abandoned by his previous owner, and their bond was unshakable. Her neighbors couldn't understand the connection she shared with the snake. They didn't notice the way Reggie's eyes seemed to glow with understanding when Cassandra spoke to him, or the way he would tenderly nuzzle her cheek with his scaly head, as if reassuring her that he was there for her. A snake was an ideal companion for her modest home, as it required minimal care and didn't incessantly bark like her neighbor's tiny dog. Moreover, it hadn't caused any disturbances so far. Reggie had never made any attempt to hurt her or any of the guests that came to visit. If only her neighbors would cease their incessant, unwarranted cautioning. Cassandra had always housed her python in a vivarium equipped with a heat lamp, following the standard practice for reptilian pets. However, as she began to feel increasingly lonely, she decided to deepen their bond and take their relationship to the next level. She genuinely believed they could strengthen their bond. Observing her neighbor's seemingly weak connection with her dog, which was left outside to sleep every night, inspired Cassandra to come up with an idea. In an effort to strengthen their bond and prove her devotion to Reggie, Cassandra decided to take their relationship to the next level. She began sleeping with Reggie curled around her body, a living, breathing blanket that stretched from her head to her toes. Night after night, the two would curl up together in Cassandra's bed, Reggie's steady, rhythmic breathing lulling her into a deep, peaceful sleep, unlike anything she had ever experienced before. As the weeks went on, however, Cassandra noticed a troubling change in Reggie's behavior. He no longer showed interest in the meals she offered him, whether it was fresh chicken or even his favorite rabbit. One morning his behavior was extremely concerning to her. What was going on? Throughout the day, Reggie remained on her bed, refusing to eat and displaying more agitation than usual, especially when Cassandra attempted to move him back to the vivarium. She pondered if he was merely in a bad mood or unwell. Noticing something peculiar about his appearance, she questioned whether it was her imagination or if he had somehow changed in size overnight. Concerned for his well-being and fearing that something might be seriously wrong, Cassandra decided to take him to the local veterinarian, Dr. Hansen, a middle-aged man known for his calm demeanor and expertise in treating exotic animals. There was undoubtedly something amiss with her beloved companion. Upon arrival at the vet clinic, Dr. Hansen was visibly taken aback by Reggie's sheer size and the obvious affection between the snake and Cassandra. He couldn't help but marvel at the unusual bond they shared. After listening to Cassandra explain the situation, Dr. Hansen agreed to examine Reggie. He suggested that the most appropriate course of action would be to conduct an ultrasound of the snake's abdomen as it might have ingested something unusual. He conducted a series of tests, including blood work and an X-ray. As the veterinarian performed the ultrasound, his forehead furrowed into a frown, and he looked at his assistant. This caused Cassandra's heart to race with anxiety. What could he possibly be observing? The veterinarian then inquired about a series of topics concerning the snake, including its feeding and sleeping patterns. At that point, Cassandra divulged their nightly bonding ritual. "Cassandra, I'm afraid I have some unsettling news," he said, trying to maintain his composure. He decided to show her the ultrasound. When he presented the ultrasound results, Cassandra was unable to comprehend what she was looking at. The python's stomach appeared entirely empty, leaving Cassandra puzzled about the issue. The veterinarian inquired if the snake typically stretched out along her body and coiled around her as she lay in bed. Cassandra nodded, affirming, "Well, yes." "You see," the vet continued, "Reggie's stomach is completely empty, which is highly unusual for a python of his size. I believe he's been preparing his body for a large meal, and that's why he hasn't been eating." Snakes are capable of consuming prey significantly larger than themselves, owing to their remarkable ability to unhinge their jaws. Cassandra couldn't believe it. But what could he possibly be preparing to eat? "I've tried offering him various foods, and he's refused them all," she stuttered desperately. Dr. Hansen hesitated, glancing at the massive python before locking eyes with Cassandra. His voice was heavy with concern as he said, "Miss Turner, I think Reggie has been sizing you up as his prey." By stretching out alongside Cassandra, the python had actually been assessing her dimensions. Essentially, Reggie was rehearsing how to approach his next substantial meal. He had been biding his time, waiting for the ideal moment to capture his prey. Cassandra's heart sank, and she couldn't believe her ears. She stammered, "That's impossible. Reggie would never hurt me. We have a special bond. He's my companion, my friend." Dr. Hansen sighed and replied, "I understand how you feel, but Reggie is still a wild animal, and his instincts are strong. I urge you to reconsider your sleeping arrangements and take this seriously for your own safety." A shiver ran down her spine when she realized that her beloved Reggie might have been preparing to consume her while she slept. It was hard to fathom that what she had considered bonding was nothing more than Reggie assessing her as potential prey. The notion that she had contemplated whether the snake was watching over her at night now seemed disturbing. In truth, he had been watching and patiently waiting for his next meal. As Cassandra left the clinic with Reggie, her mind raced with a mix of fear, disbelief, and heartache. She struggled to reconcile the snake she loved with the predator Dr. Hansen described. As she pondered the situation, she knew that she had to make a difficult decision. Was it worth risking her life to maintain the bond she shared with Reggie, or should she take the necessary precautions to protect herself? Despite her protests, Cassandra couldn't ignore the facts. Dr. Hansen explained that pythons were known to be opportunistic hunters, and Reggie's behavior was consistent with that of a snake preparing for a big meal. He urged her to reconsider her living situation with Reggie, suggesting she find a more suitable home for him. Despite Cassandra's emotional turmoil, she decided to test Reggie's intentions by placing a mannequin in her bed, mimicking her presence. The results were disheartening as Reggie began coiling around the inanimate figure, revealing his true predatory nature. Faced with this harsh reality, Cassandra made the painful decision to part ways with Reggie, seeking a safer environment for both herself and the snake. The news of her harrowing experience spread through the town, eliciting a mix of gossip and sympathetic reactions from her neighbors. In the aftermath, Cassandra, determined to fill the void left by Reggie, discovered a new companion, a chameleon named Cammy. However, her journey took an unexpected turn when Cammy's health deteriorated due to ingesting foreign objects from her terrarium. Cassandra, haunted by the memories of Reggie's predatory instincts, faced another emotional ordeal. Dr. Hansen's diagnosis revealed the need for a risky procedure to remove the foreign bodies. The decision weighed heavily on Cassandra, who grappled with the fear of losing another cherished pet. Miraculously, Cammy pulled through, and Cassandra, filled with gratitude, vowed to provide the chameleon with a safer environment. Through this experience, she learned valuable lessons about responsible pet ownership and the importance of creating a secure space for her animal companions. As Cassandra and Cammy embarked on a journey of recovery and bonding, the echoes of their shared laughter resonated through the house once more. Despite the trials, Cassandra's newfound resilience and commitment to her pets transformed the narrative into one of personal growth and the enduring power of love.